Lies and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching, excuse me, still got that cold. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. Everybody feeling okay? Better than I am? Good. Don't worry, I have my tissues and I'm ready to roll. I am starting to feel a little bit better. Poor little sweet Steffi, though. She's still not feeling good. Wish her the best. At least she's joining us here over live in the chat. At least I think so. I think I saw Steffi. Are you there? Good morning, Mommy, Nancy Solorio, Quest Fanning, Mighty Megatron, what's up? Take me to your leader. Matt Unruh, how you doing, buddy? Tell Robin we said hello, will ya? Bruce Burt Whistle, nice to see you, brother. What's happening, my man? How's everybody doing? I said hello to everybody. Liberty Shindig, Richard Bell, what's up, what's up? You guys ready to rock? We got a lot going on today, a lot to talk about, a lot of great clips, a lot of great stories, and of course, a lot of great guests. The interview, Tucker Carlson sits down to break bread with Vladimir Putin. No, they didn't break bread. They just had a little interview, and oh my God, my computer's doing that thing where the mouse disappears, and so I can't see the cursor. And so I have no idea how to run the show. Don't you love it when your computer does stuff like that, huh? Oh my God, that is going to be an absolute catastrophic problem that we'll have to figure out how to solve because I can't even pull up the show. Oh my God, this is going to be a nightmare. Please, for the love of God, let this get fixed. Shit. Hi guys, how's it going? I could just sit here for 2 hours. Won't have to worry about having any guests on or anything. We won't worry about Zoom or anything like that. We won't have Daniel DiMartino at 7:30 a.m.
No, God!
That's what's happening internally to me right now.
Please, no!
As I hope. Oh, God, there we go. Okay, the cursor is back. Jesus, that is terrifying. There's this glitch on my laptop that happens every once in a while where the cursor just disappears. So there's no way for me to see what I'm clicking on or where I'm clicking on. And I run the whole show. It's not like there's a producer over there hitting all the buttons and I can be like, hey, Jamie, look that up or fix that. It's just, oh, hey, Austin, you're performing the show and producing it. So now you're screwed. But thank God the cursor just reappeared. So I don't need these problems in the morning, okay? I don't need these problems. All right. So anyways, we'll speak to Daniel DiMartino this morning at 7:30 a.m. Central because apparently it's working now. And we'll talk to him about the immigration bill. At 8 o'clock a.m. Central this morning, we're going to hear from Judge Andrew Napolitano. Of course, it's big brain time. So apparently the porn star payoff that Donald Trump is embroiled in is going to go to a jury trial, which is just an absolute spectacle. I know. We're going to talk to Judge Napolitano about Donald Trump's legal woes at 8 a.m. Central Time, and then at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. First time joining us on the show. I'm looking forward to hearing from this gentleman. His name's Alex, and he is a tech entrepreneur, to talk to us about all these attacks that he was getting from conservatives for wearing Apple headsets. Did you guys see this? That that everybody's wearing these Apple headsets, and of course conservatives are like, this is the end of civilization. Every time a new technology comes out, it's the end of civilization.
How dare you?
How dare you wear the new Apple headset and wear it in public and use it in public? Because did you know that there used to be actual laws against wearing headsets in public, not the ones that go over your eyes? But there were people in certain towns and communities, if you were wearing a headset like the one I'm wearing right now, a pair of headphones, like a Walkman, back in the 80s, there were towns that outlawed them. You weren't allowed to appear in public in the United States of America, a free country, wearing headsets. Just wait. There's going to be laws in certain communities that are going to say, you can't wear these Apple headsets in public, because just there's always a group of people, Luddites, who are terrified of any new technology, and it's always the end of the world. I'm sure that back in when Gutenberg invented the printing press, that people were like, oh my God, people are going to be able to read the Bible in English. No, Bible. Which I'm pretty sure that there were people who thought it should be illegal to read the Bible in English. Yeah, but yeah, Mighty Megatron says, you look like a D-bag wearing that S in public.
How
Okay,
dare you?
well, maybe it's possible, but no, you don't need to call the cops. All right, so we'll talk about that this morning, 8:30 a.m. Central. Alex was getting ripped by the Daily Wire for teaching people how to use a new Apple headset. I don't have $3,000 to buy an Apple headset. How about you? Because help me, I'm poor. But you can fix that today with our bonus content. This week we're doing Mythbusters for our bonus content, and the one that I've cooked up for you today is extra special and extra long. If you want to unlock the bonus content today, you know what to do. $50 Rumble donation by the end of this show, or cumulative donations that add up to $50 by the end of the show will unlock the bonus content. And you definitely want to see it because today's Mythbusters episode is a Liberty special. The Not So Wild Wild West. Yes, we are debunking one of the best myths, or one of the biggest myths in American history. Today's myth that we are debunking, if we unlock the content, will be the Not So Wild Wild West. And today's episode of Mythbusters on the Wake Up America show is a little bit longer than usual. I've been making 1 to 2 minute videos. This one's almost 3 minutes long, going through a debunking of the Wild West as being, well, not so wild. So if you would like to unlock that content today, we need to raise $50 by the end of the show, which is super helpful because, of course, if for some reason Rumble doesn't feature us on the front page, that's about what we would make if Rumble featured us. So it does help to make up for that slack, and you get a little extra bit of bonus content. If we don't get the $50 by the end of the show, the extra special bonus content, debunking myths of the Wild Wild West in the United States, goes away forever, and you get a chance tomorrow for a new one. So make a Rumble Rant donation, and you will get that chance to hear and see the debunking of the Wild Wild West. Before we get started with the news, there was a little news item involving one of our regular guests. Take a look at this. So yesterday, protesters got removed from the Missouri Capitol. There was a rally for Israel yesterday. They were disrupting the proceedings at the Missouri House of Representatives. You can see here, I think this is my buddy Ben Baker. Yeah, he's recording this. So protesters were trying to disrupt it, right? These are homos for Hamas, right? Gays for Gaza or whatever. And they're out there trying to block people from, having regular order there in the Capitol. And they had showed up in Jefferson City yesterday, where we live and we do the show from. Hey, what? There they are, the homos for Hamas. You can see them there, all screaming, free Palestine, to chop off our heads, to put our women in burqas. Intifada until victory. Look at this super homosexual, blue-haired woman that would immediately be thrown off of a building if they were to deport her to Palestine. Take every single one of these queers for Palestine and do us a favor. Deport every single one of them. Send that here. Here you can see Muhammad here. He might actually survive a few days in Gaza before they turn him into a child soldier, dress him up, put a bomb on his chest, and then send him out there to get killed by the Israelis. But you can see here, the lovely blue-haired chick, she's dog meat, pal. Dog meat, right? Look at this white liberal chick here. You can see she's like, please cut off my head, Ahmed. Please, Ahmed, cut off my head. I desperately want to die. You can see here, here's soy boy number 4 here. You can, straight out of Central Casting, you can literally see the soy flowing through his veins. There he is, right there. But the best part about this story is that our friend Camellia Peterson made an appearance. So they were trying to block access to a pro-Israel event. You can see him. Now check this out. So here you can see some of these people are buddies of ours, acquaintances of mine. I think I see Justin Hill in there somewhere. I'm not quite sure. Is that Curtis Trent? No, just looks like Curtis Trent. They all look like Curtis Trent. Now here's the Dark Prince of Secrecy, Greg Keller. Greg has been on the Wake Up America show a couple of times. You may not recognize him. There he is. Now, here's Camellia. Now, here's the best part about this. So y'all know Camellia, right? Every Tuesday and Thursday, right? She's on the show. Give it up for CJ. Now, Camellia is going to try and climb the fence here. Okay, now watch, but she's got a dress on. Now watch. She's so sweet. She's so cute because she's like, she's obviously shy, right? But she can't just swing her legs over the top. And of course, the internet's going to mess up. What is going on with the internet?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
For the love of God, internet, can we please just get the part where Camellia is trying to get over the fence here? Here we go. All right, come on now. Okay, there's Greg. Now watch it. Here comes Camellia. Now look at her smile. She's already chicken butt red. Look at her. She's laughing, right? Because she wants to get over the fence. There she goes. Give her a hand, gentlemen. Come on. There, she made it over the fence. Give it up, CJ. There you go. One more time. Here she is. She's laughing because she's so demure. There's Camellia trying to get over the fence, and there, she made it. Give it up for CJ Peterson. Way to go. And the homos for Hamas crying after wrath. Before we talk about the Tucker Carlson interview, just real quick, I'm loving this headline from the Babylon Bee. Everybody's calling Tucker Carlson a traitor and a spy, and maybe he is, but we're going to talk about that in just a moment. And look at this as objectively as possible, because everybody deserves complete and total scrutiny. I never get away with having an army of loyal sycophants who believe everything that I say unquestioningly. So Tucker Carlson can't either on this show. So we are going to critically analyze his interview with Vladimir Putin when it drops, which it hasn't dropped just yet. However, he has dropped the preview to the video, which we'll be analyzing. But the Babylon Bee the Babylon Bee story on it really nails it. New besties, Tucker and Putin, seen riding bear through Moscow while chugging vodka. Mighty Megatron says that Tucker did what the mainstream media wouldn't. I think that other people have interviewed Vladimir Putin. Now, of course, Russia Today has done interviews with Vladimir Putin, but that's state propaganda. So you would expect that he's not going to get a difficult interview. And someone who I know is a conservative who I don't agree with on a lot of issues, her name's Inez Stepman. She says that Tucker is either doing real and important journalism with this interview, right? Or he's disgracing himself as thoroughly as Jane Fonda did when she went to play cute games with the North Vietnamese. It all depends on the questions he asked, right? Which I think is a really good POV. I'm going to play this here with you on the Tucker thing here in just a moment. But what's important to understand, right, about the difference between someone who's doing puff pieces and someone who's doing real journalism. I don't know if you remember when the gubernatorial candidate Bill Eigel came onto my show a few weeks ago, and I did a pretty tough interview with him, right? That's how you know that I'm actually trying to do real journalism for you, because Bill Eigel and I are buds. I'm pretty sure Bill Eigel supported me when I ran for U.S. Senate here in Missouri in 2018, although my memory's a little hazy on that one. Still getting over COVID. But the thing is that if he had come in here and I had interviewed him and never asked him a single difficult question, then you would have good reasons to question my credibility, right? Am I really someone who is trying to get to the truth? Am I really trying to do my job as someone who believes in limited government and holding politicians accountable? When I say that, you know that those aren't just empty words. And when you see me interviewing people, politicians, even my good friend, I will say he's my friend, Tony Lavasco, when he comes on this show, guess what? He gets hard questions too. He doesn't get away with just some puff piece that's all about making him look good. Do I want him to look good? Sure. Do I agree with him politically? Absolutely. Is he a politician? Yes. Is he going to get difficult questions on my show? Absolutely. So I think that it's, just like we don't give Jane Fonda a pass for doing propaganda for the Viet Cong during the Vietnam War. I think that it all depends on the questions that Tucker asks. If he's kissing Putin's ass and he's not asking him any difficult questions, and let's be honest, Tucker Carlson didn't ask Donald Trump difficult questions when he interviewed him, then I think that Inez is correct, that it's a puff piece, and Tucker Carlson is just playing us all for likes and clicks and money and donations, and he's not actually trying to get to the heart of the matter. He's just propagandizing because he knows that this is what you want to hear. Because let's be honest, the right, in my view, has been uncomfortably pro-Putin in recent years. There was this Lauren Witzke character who is a Delaware Republican candidate for Senate who's out there like, I support Putin. Even that, who's that one Liberty retard who works for Ron Paul? Daniel McAdams, like came out specifically and said, I support Vladimir Putin. And it's like, you don't have to think, you don't have to say, just because you don't agree with spending money to Ukraine doesn't mean you have to come out in full-blown support of a murderous dictator like Vladimir Putin, right? And Putin is playing the American right like a fiddle at this point in time. Like he is playing to divide American politics perfectly. Like the propaganda that Russia puts out. I don't know if you've ever seen Russia Today. I used to go and debate communists on that network all the time, so I understand how their media strategy works. It's perfectly situated to divide Americans. They used to give a lot of attention to Ron Paul, not because they believed in libertarianism, because I guarantee you that Vladimir Putin does not believe in libertarianism or conservatism or limited government at all in the way that we do. But they used to give airtime to Ron Paul because Ron Paul was saying we should overthrow the American regime, we should and we should secede, and the American government should break up, and we should break up into smaller little states, and the federal government should go away. And Vladimir Putin's like, that would be good for me. We would like to see that. Yes, America should have civil war and go and all break up into republics. So enemy of my enemy kind of thing here. So anyways, if you want to look at things objectively, you're in the right place. If you want a bunch of dictator ass kissing, if you want a lot of right-wing suck jobs, you are in the wrong place, because the Wake Up America show is a real libertarian show where nobody gets out alive, no one is unscathed, every politician answers difficult questions, even if I like them, and that's how we run the show. Are you in the right place? Good. If you don't like it, get the out, because there's no ass kissing that goes on here except for maybe Javier Milei. We are Javier Milei stands in this house, although if I get a chance to interview him, which might happen, then if it does, I will also ask him difficult questions as well. All right, so let's continue and hear from Tucker Carlson talking about his interview with Vladimir Putin, and we shall analyze.
We're in Moscow tonight. We're here to interview the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. We'll be doing that soon. There are risks to conducting an interview like this, obviously, so we've thought about it carefully over many months. Here's why we're doing it. First, because it's our job. We're in journalism. Our duty is to inform people. 2 years into a war that's reshaping the entire world, most Americans are not informed. They have no real idea what's happening in this region, here in Russia or 600 miles away in Ukraine. But they should know. They're paying for much of it in ways they might not fully yet perceive. The war in Ukraine is a human disaster. It's left hundreds of thousands of people dead, an entire generation of young Ukrainians, and it's depopulated the largest country in Europe.
Absolutely. Good points, and we completely agree with Tucker on that. Camelia said, was just talked about this last night. You don't have to be pro or con. You can be opposed to both sides. You don't have to support Putin to oppose Ukraine, FFA, for F's sake. True. I like what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had to say about this yesterday. He said, mainstream media journalists have interviewed Putin many times before. The only difference now is that they can't control the narrative. Zelensky has given numerous primetime interviews. Osama bin Laden has been interviewed before. We have a right to hear from everyone, no matter how you feel personally about them. RFK Jr., absolutely correct. Will Run Riot says, I don't believe 99% of what's been said by our media about Putin. Well, you can be sure that if you ever watch or listen to Russia Today, which I highly recommend you do not listen to Russia Today, that 100% of what they say about Putin is BS, right? So my problem, I think, with the American libertarian movement is that it doesn't understand that, like, just because our government engages in psyops doesn't mean that foreign governments aren't also engaging in psyops as well, right? Foreign governments are absolutely engaging in psyops. The Chinese, the Russians, the North Koreans, like, they are running active psyops. A lot of the media that you're going to consume in the alternative press that looks like it's normal news is not, right? It's there to suit an agenda and suit a narrative. And foreign regimes who despise the American government and want to see the United States break up, they may sound like they're friendly to liberty or libertarianism in the United States, but only because they see that as an enemy of my enemy. I mean, they would kill American libertarians and classical liberals first, right? If they had the opportunity. You couldn't do a show like the Wake Up America show that I do here in the United States. You couldn't do that in Russia. If there was some governor of Moscow candidate who came on like Bill Eigel and I started asking him difficult questions and pushing back on him and saying, I think that's a stupid idea, what do you think would happen? Austin Peterson would be, well, FBI, open up! Let's continue.
But the long-term effects are even more profound. This war has utterly reshaped the global military and trade alliances, and the sanctions that followed have as well. And in total, they have upended the world economy. The post-World War II economic order, the system that guaranteed prosperity in the West for more than 80 years, is coming apart very fast, and along with it, the dominance of the US dollar. These are not small changes. They are history-altering developments. They will define the lives of our grandchildren. Most of the world understands this perfectly well. They can see it. Ask anyone in Asia or the Middle East what the future looks like. And yet the populations of the English-speaking countries seem mostly unaware. They think that as nothing has really changed. And they think that because no one has told them the truth. Their media outlets are corrupt. They lie to their readers and viewers. And they do that mostly by omission. For example, since the day the war in Ukraine began, American media outlets have spoken to scores of people from Ukraine, and they have done scores of interviews with Ukrainian President Zelensky. We ourselves have put in a request for an interview with Zelensky, and we hope he accepts. But the interviews he's already done in the United States are not traditional interviews. They are fawning pep sessions specifically designed to amplify Zelensky's demand that the U.S. enter more deeply into a war in Eastern Europe and pay for it.
Yeah, Tucker is absolutely right there, but it's a bit of a trap because if Tucker turns around and does the same kind of an interview with Vladimir Putin, then his hypocrisy will be laid bare. There's a lot riding on this interview for Tucker Carlson and his credibility. I mean, this is a big one. It's huge. And thank you to rumble.com. I'm guessing that because of the hundreds of people who are joining us live that we are featured on the front page. Good morning. Good morning. Nice to have you here. Thank you to rumble.com. Do me a favor, if you're enjoying the content today, click like and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to hear from you. Come back and join us every Monday through Friday. This show streams live. So it's a 2-hour live Liberty talk show, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. We call this the Wake Up America Show. And if you will see over in the live chat in the comment section, we have a very lively chat with a lot of very friendly people. So don't be shy. Drop a comment and introduce yourself. You can text the show anytime, night or day that you're listening to it at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586 is the text line. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, again, you can text us anytime, night or day, and let us know what's on your mind. You can agree or disagree, and I'll read your text anyway, as long as they don't contain too much profanity. Listeners are texting in. One person said they hate Apple headsets because it's Apple and it's expensive. Yes, it's true. We are going to talk at 8:30 a.m. Central this morning about to a tech entrepreneur by the name of Alex, who was getting attacked by Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire for using Apple headsets. It's the end of civilization. You know, is it really the end of civilization, or is this the end of civilization?
That is not journalism. It is government propaganda. Propaganda of the ugliest kind, the kind that kills people. At the same time, our politicians and media outlets have been doing this, promoting a foreign leader like he's a new consumer brand. Not a single Western journalist has bothered to interview the president of the other country involved in this conflict, Vladimir Putin. Most Americans have no idea why Putin invaded Ukraine or what his goals are now. They've never heard his voice. That's wrong. Americans have a right to know all they can about a war they're implicated in, and we have the right to tell them about it because we are Americans too. Freedom of speech is our birthright. We were born with the right to say what we believe.
Amen.
That right cannot be taken away no matter who is in the White House. But they're trying anyway. Almost 3 years ago, the Biden administration illegally spied on our text messages and then leaked the contents to their servants in the news media.
This is a huge revelation that Tucker is talking about here.
They did this in order to stop a Putin interview that we were planning. Last month, we're pretty certain they did exactly the same thing once again. But this time, we came to Moscow anyway. We are not here because we love Vladimir Putin. We are here because we love the United States. and we want it to remain prosperous and free. We paid for this trip ourselves. We took no money from any government or group, nor are we charging people to see the interview. It is not behind a paywall. Anyone can watch the entire thing, shot live to tape and unedited, on our website, tuckercarlson.com. Elon Musk, to his great credit, has promised not to suppress or block this interview once we post it on his platform, X, and we're grateful for that. Western governments, by contrast, will certainly do their best to censor this video on other less principled platforms because that's what they do. They are afraid of information they can't control.
Absolutely correct.
But you have no reason to be afraid of it. We are not encouraging you to agree with what Putin may say in this interview.
Thank you.
But we are urging you to watch it. You should know as much as you can. And then, like a free citizen and not a slave, you can decide for yourself.
All right, so far so good.
Thanks.
Me likey. Yes, absolutely. We should hear from Tucker Carlson and Vladimir Putin when we hear this interview. There's a lot riding on this, but perhaps the biggest revelation of all was Tucker Carlson talking about his text messages that were hacked by the Biden administration in order to prevent an interview with Vladimir Putin a few years ago. That's news to me, and I'm pretty much staying up to date on all of the news so that I can inform you here on the Wake Up America show. Had you ever heard that before? And now he's essentially accusing them of doing it again to prevent that interview. That's huge. That's huge. We've got to go real quick. I'm going to go get Daniel DiMartino to talk about that immigration bill that the Republican Party scuttled yesterday. I think it gave the Republicans everything that they've been asking for. So why did they say no? We're going to talk to Daniel DiMartino about that when we get back from this very brief commercial break. We got some exciting news, too, I'm going to announce when I get back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race, or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have "Glad you came out" and "I'm so happy that you're queer" in the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Good morning. Welcome back. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. It's nice to see about 1,000 people watching us live. What's up? Nice to see you. I'm pretty sure a lot of you are new to the show, so do us a favor. Click like and subscribe to the Wake Up America show and come back and join us 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. That's our schedule. It's a great way to start the day. and stay informed. It's also good to enjoy with a delicious cup of coffee. And for those of you who are regulars to the show, you know we've got an amazing selection of delicious coffees that we sell at ap4libertyshop.com. Some of you are probably drinking it already. I'm drinking a little Benjamin Franklin's Electric Elixir, but today we have an exciting new announcement because we have a brand new flavor of coffee at Founding Flavors you can get called Madisonian Morning. Thank you. James Madison, author of the Constitution, finally has his own flavor of coffee, and it is a 5-star premium light roast you can get exclusively at ap4libertyshop.com. Some of you are going to love it so much, I know you're going to sign up for the either 2-week delivery, 1-week delivery, 2-3 months. You can get it delivered to your door on the regs. Head over today, get yourself a box of Madisonian Morning, a delicious premium light roast, flavors of dried fruit and citrus to start your day. There's no better way than Founding Flavors coffee. Get it at ap4libertyshop.com. That's AP, the number 4, ap4libertyshop.com. There you go. Founding Flavors coffee, new flavor today. Okay. Well, immigration, it's the flavor of the week. The question of whether or not we'll have a little bit of reform and whether we can have security on our southern border. You know what? I'm not an expert on these things. I'm just a talk show host. So I like to bring in experts like Daniel DiMartino, who's joining us live right now. He's from Venezuela, so he knows a thing or two about South American politics, and he's a graduate fellow at the Manhattan Institute. Good morning, Daniel. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Austin.
Glad to have you here. Daniel, fill us in here. This everything I'm reading on this border bill is contradicting. Republicans are saying it's the worst thing ever. Democrats are saying it's a good compromise. The Wall Street Journal article that I shared with you yesterday says this is giving Republicans everything that they want, but Donald Trump says it's bad. Big picture here, your take on this immigration bill that may be dead on arrival?
Yeah, well, what I did is I came without an opinion on this bill, and I actually read the bill, and at least just the immigration portion. The rest is just very long about Ukraine and Israel, and it has other things, right? And what it says is that every migrant, the presumption is that they will be detained at the border while they await asylum screenings. That's not what happens today because that's not what the law says today. The law today in the United States says that even if you cross the U.S. southern border illegally, you have a legal right to claim asylum, be put in the courts, and take 5 to 10 years because we don't have enough judges. This bill completely changes that, appropriates the resources to actually detain people, and then allows for their release only if they pass a really toughened up asylum screening interview under a higher standard, basically.
Okay, so it does prevent people like more immigration, right? It does provide for border security, but it also gives some concessions to the other side. What are the Republicans complaining about? What is Donald Trump's major beef with this bill then?
Well, what some of the House Republicans at least have said specifically is that they want nobody to be released at all and everybody to be detained. And, certainly I would love that too. The issue is, if you want to detain 300,000 people crossing the southern border a month, that means you need 300,000 places to detain them. How long is it going to take us to build those spaces, right? This is going to require money and time, and this bill appropriates that money and time. Some people might say, well, we just arrest them and deport them back. But it's not that simple, actually. You can't deport non-Mexicans back to Mexico because it's not their country. So you can deport the Mexicans, you can deport everybody else. You need to appropriate money and fly them out to these other countries. Some of these countries don't take their citizens back immediately. The reality is different in theory.
I understand that. That makes sense. You can't deport someone back to Mexico if they're not from there. However, they did go through Mexico. One of the things that I've heard that was a very successful policy during the Trump years was this remain in Mexico policy. And this was kind of a diplomatic coup because Mexico had to agree to this, and it's difficult to get concessions from them. Talk to us about this because it seems as if that remain in Mexico, while you're applying for asylum status was a successful policy, but now it seems to have fallen apart under the Biden administration.
Yes, there are two sides of this. One is what you mentioned, that, in order for remaining Mexico to come back into place, you need to have Mexico's agreement. And Mexico right now would be facing a much larger number of people being left in their territory just because of the larger flow. So the situation is already different than during Trump's presidency because Biden let it get this bad. So Mexico is unlikely to agree to, say, keeping maybe a contingent of 1 million non-citizens on their side of the border. And then on the other hand, you have the issue that if you let them stay in Mexico and then cross illegally through another port of entry instead of being detained in the US and not being able to leave, then you have the problem that surely they'll sign up for remain in Mexico and then they'll try to cross elsewhere and try to evade detection instead of turning themselves in. So there's no perfect solution. In an ideal world, we would have enough detention space, like, say, countries like Australia or Canada do, that when somebody crosses their border illegally, they're detained, and then they await until they have their actual full asylum interview. And if they pass, they're admitted, they're an asylum seeker. And if they're rejected, they're immediately deported. That's what this bill tries to achieve, but they appropriate the money and it takes some time to actually get there.
Now, Daniel, there's an immigration question here, but there's also a national security question. As I'm reading the reports, that a significant number of the people who are crossing the border into the United States are Chinese nationals. Is that the case?
Yes, there's about, several thousand a month. It's maybe like, 5 to 10% of the people crossing.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of national security, Joe Biden is saying that he doesn't have the legitimate lawful authority to secure the border. It would seem that on national security grounds he does. Am I off base, or?
It depends on what you mean by closing the border, right? That's what everybody says. The president can just close the border, right? But what does that mean? What happens if somebody shows up? They're arrested and they're deported? You need money from Congress to deport them. Otherwise, you can't deport them. And by the way, China does not accept Chinese citizens back to be deported very easily. It's a problem the Trump administration had. I've had these discussions even with Ken Cuccinelli, and China does not want its Chinese citizens back. So what do you do about that? So this is a foreign policy question as well, because you need to try to persuade these other countries. Venezuela recently, the dictator Maduro threatened Biden that if they sanction Venezuela back, they're not going to take Venezuelans deported back to the country. So this is getting increasingly complex because the illegal immigration of today is not the illegal immigration of 20 years ago. It's not just Mexicans anymore. It's people from all over the world.
Are you following this story? This is kind of a breaking news story, Daniel, so I won't blame you if you're not up to speed on it. But this was a story that came out a few days ago about a hidden room at the Atlanta airport. A lawmaker says that a whistleblower tipped him off to this. This is a hidden room holding migrants at the Atlanta airport. I mean, certainly this is a big concern, especially with the potential for human trafficking, is it not?
Yes, I did. I did see that video. My concern is that you have to understand that when people show up at the airport, at least on customs and immigration, I don't know where this room specifically was within the airport. That's something special to know. People sometimes are stowaways on planes, and then they go through immigration after they arrive from abroad, especially at the Atlanta airport, which is, I think, one of the largest airports by traffic in the world. And they're detained by customs, enforcement right there at the airport until we can sort out if they can be legally admitted or have to be sent back by plane. So it could be just that, or it could be something else.
Daniel, one of the questions that people frequently ask is who is paying for all of this, right? Because it's not, if these people are so poor and destitute that they have to flee South American countries, this is not an easy trip. It's an expensive trip. They've got to pay for food and water along the way. Somebody is funding all of this. I've heard rumors of Catholic charities that are stepping in, non-governmental organizations, the United Nations. I've heard rumors of them getting gift cards that are handed to them by the cartels. Who's paying for all of this massive wave of immigration that's coming across our southern border?
Well, the cartels are certainly not paying for it. They're profiting from it. I don't think they will spend money on them, right? They want to get the money from them. Look, it's not true that it's all poor and destitute people. It's what you mentioned. It's expensive to get here, especially the people who are not from South America or Central America. Those are people who have several $1,000s enough saved so that they can buy a plane ticket, usually to Ecuador, because Ecuador doesn't have visa requirements with almost any country, and then they make the trip to the US. In fact, if you wanted to just cut off the non-Latin American illegal immigration, we just need to persuade Ecuador to put a visa requirement on other countries. It's that easy, especially for Africans and Chinese. And so, that you have that, and then the people from South America, they usually work on the way. So the trip doesn't take, several days or a couple of weeks as it should do if you did it continuously. It takes several months as they work in Panama to make some money. Then they work in Costa Rica and make some money. But it's certainly not the people who are starving. The people who are starving can't afford to leave their countries.
Daniel, what is an ideal situation here? I mean, we have to account for national security. We have to account for people who have private property, who own land on the Texas border. I was telling a story just yesterday about a gentleman who is, has to protect his property because the coyotes are burning down trees and ripping down his fences so that they can get through. I mean, what's an ideal situation here? Do you think that does Donald Trump have a good point that we probably should have a secure border that includes up to and including a wall in order to have a national security and to have orderly immigration into this country?
Yeah, we 100% need to stop illegal immigration. The question is how, right? Not whether we should. And I think that there are different solutions. Whatever the solution is, we need to have more detention space along the southern border. We definitely need more physical barriers so that people don't evade capture. That's a lot more physical barriers. But then that also gets into trouble with the private property owners that you talk about, because that requires expropriating part of their land, which is also a violation of their property. And so it gets tricky. I understand. I think the government does have the right to do so in this case. But there's also a lot of government waste, but it's a cost that's worth incurring. And after we do that, we have to detain people and we have to decide, are we going to have even a right to asylum across the southern border? Many countries don't. And then they just are detained and everybody's sent back. We could do that. It will cost more money, but we could. And then we need to have a strong legal system too. And what I mean a strong legal system is this southern border discussion has taken all the air out of the real immigration discussion that matters, which is the immigrants that come here to create businesses and who are highly paid and who can make our economy grow. And that's not what's happening on the southern border, but it's what we should allow to happen through our airports and through our companies that would make America, continue to grow and innovate as it used to.
Understandable. Daniel DiMartino joining us live right now on the show. He is a graduate fellow at Manhattan Institute. Hey, real quick before I let you go, apparently you appeared in an interview with John Stossel where you were talking about Argentina's new president, Javier Milei. We're big fans of his here on the Wake Up America show. Tell us a little bit about what you and Stossel were talking about in that interview. Give us a little preview.
Yeah, of course. What happened is that he just got through the lower house of Congress in Argentina, his main omnibus bill. This is the bill that will actually allow the firing of tens of thousands of government employees, the bill that will allow the repeal of so many of these regulations that are keeping Argentina down, of simplification of bureaucratic procedures, of legalizing private oil and gas exploration, of privatizing all the state companies, including like phones and railroads, all of these things. It's really impressive, I think, what he's able to do. And he's able to do it because he's popular, because Argentina got in such a bad spot that people got tired and they said, we're just going to vote for the crazy guy who's going to fix everything. They got lucky. They got a guy who's a nerd. I think he's a good nerd in that he knows what he's doing. He knows economics. And that's what Argentina needs. Argentina was destroyed by socialists, the same people that destroyed the country I'm from, Venezuela. And thankfully, they didn't lose their democracy yet, and he was able to get elected.
That's good stuff. Daniel, send us that clip. We'll definitely play it on the show. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners or plug before we let you go?
Well, I have an organization called the Dissident Project. We send immigrants who lived in authoritarian countries to speak at high schools at no cost. So if anybody here is a teacher or you want to support us, go to dissidentproject.org, and you can bring in somebody from North Korea, from Cuba, from Iran, from Zimbabwe, and speak to your high school kids and tell their story of why America is great at no cost to you.
Yeah, you should probably get a few rejects from California as well to let them know in other countries what it's like to live in a dictatorship. Daniel DiMartino, thank you for your time today. We appreciate you standing up for freedom and proposing some reasonable solutions to this immigration crisis. We hope to have you back on the show and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you. What did you guys think of Daniel DiMartino? Great interview, eh? We need some level-headed approaches to the problem of our southern border, and certainly Daniel DiMartino seems to be proposing some. I don't know if this border bill that is coming across that's supposedly dead in the water is the solution, but I can tell you right now, the truth is that when Donald Trump became president in 2016, it didn't even require him to have any new legislation for people to know that our immigration laws would be enforced for the numbers of immigrants to be reduced. That the question is whether or not we will actually enforce the laws in this country. Not to say that the laws are necessarily good laws. Who was that rock and roll singer one time who had a famous quote? He says, "The United States is a nation of laws, randomly written and badly enforced." But if we have good laws on the books that protect our national security, that allow for an orderly migration process to the United States for people who want to come here legally, then those laws should be enforced. But the Democrats have created a lawless society where anyone who wants to come here, whether or not you want to come here to do harm or do good, we have no ability to know who you are. And that's why when I ran for office, despite my being a libertarian and being generally pro-immigration, I always said that an Ellis Island style approach should be implemented for the 21st century. That means a health screening, a security check, a disease check, and then you're done. If you can pass a citizenship test, and if you can pass a security check, and if you can pass a check to ensure that you're not carrying some infectious disease like the China coof and bringing it into our country, then yes, you should be allowed to come to the United States and apply for citizenship. But I am listening more and more to people like Victor Davis Hanson these days, whose argument about citizenship being a privilege as something that's correct. And it reminds me a little bit of Starship Troopers, where in that sort of dystopian, utopian society that they had created, the book, not just the movie, there was this idea that in order to be a citizen, to vote, you had to be a citizen. And in order to be a citizen, you had to actually contribute to society. Our founding fathers believed in that. And the reason why we know this is because it used to be that only male landowners were able to vote here in the United States. You're laughing, but the United States was not founded as a democracy. So really ask yourself this. Should you be allowed to vote if you are a net tax receiver versus a net taxpayer? That would mean that pretty much the entire state of Missouri would not be allowed to vote because, well, Missouri is on the dole. What's wrong with these red states that are all net receivers of federal taxpayer dollars rather than net givers? At the end of the day, nobody should be on the dole from the federal government, the state government, or otherwise. We should be relying on our communities, our families, our friends, our neighbors, and our churches to step up and to handle the problems that society poses, whether it's an immigration crisis or whether it's a crisis of faith or the lack thereof, or whether the crisis in our communities is dealing with a mother who has an unexpected pregnancy. These are not problems for the government to fix. These are problems for our culture and our society to fix. But people say, oh, well, our culture is corrupt and it can't solve the problem, so we have to have the government doing it. It's because the government is doing it that our culture has become corrupted. And then it becomes this self-defeating dynamic to suggest that we need more government solutions to problems that government created in the first place. The problem is the government. Am I correct? Horatius says, does AP understand that legal immigrants vote overwhelmingly Democrat? We have enough people. That's actually not true, Horatius. Many conservative, social conservative Mexicans, Latinas and Latinos and Hispanics come across the border and are very conservative, and they do vote Republican. Take, for example, Cubans. Cubans overwhelmingly vote Republican. So it depends on who you're talking about here, bud. You've got to be a little bit more specific. Love to hear your thoughts on this one, and I promise you that everything I say or do will offend you. Welcome to the Wake Up America show, all 1,500 of you. Click like and subscribe to the Wake Up America show. We'd love to have you come back here and join us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time on the Wake Up America show. We've got a lot of exciting things happening today with brand new coffee flavor. I know Camelia's ears are perking up. She loves the coffee. It's a Madisonian morning. Introducing our brand new flavor of Founding Flavors coffee, Madisonian morning. It's another light roast, which means heavy, heavy caffeine. It's a lively symphony of flavors, bursting with the boldness of dried fruit, citrus notes, and a zesty twist, symbolizing the energetic debates that shaped our nation. Energize your day with a Madisonian morning and awaken to the brilliance of a true Republican brew. Yes, small r, Republican. Small r Republicans. That's right. So do me a favor, head over to AP for Liberty Shop. Do yourself a favor and get yourself a box of Madisonian Morning Light Roast. So the way that I determined which coffees would make the cut is I got a huge sample box of all of these different beans, tasted them all, and I went through for a matter of weeks, very meticulously, tasting them every single day and then giving them a number of stars based on how delicious they were. Madisonian Morning got 5 stars as a delicious light roast. So visit ap4libertyshop.com. That's AP, the number 4, ap4libertyshop.com. Get yourself a box of Madisonian Morning. It's our brand new flavor available today at ap4libertyshop.com. Judge Napolitano will be joining us here in about 5 minutes. We're going to talk to the judge about what are we going to talk to the judge about, Austin? Hey, where's that on the show? Donald Trump's legal woes. Yeah. Apparently he's going to go to a jury trial. Yeah, it's just such a nightmare. We're going to talk to him about that. Donald Trump's legal woes in about 5 minutes. But FYI, we have got a lot of great specials going on over at the shop. The Afuera hoodies, for example, if you want to get a free sticker, put the Afuera hoodie and the Afuera sticker in your cart. Use the promo code Viva Las Tetas. And if you do, then you're going to get that Afuera sticker for free if you get the Afuera hoodie over at ap4libertyshop.com. That's AP, the number 4, ap4libertyshop.com. Oh, and by the way, we do have our debunking episode that's going to happen today. If we raise $50 by the end of the show, if we raise $50 by the end of the show, then guess what? We are going to give you an awesome 3-minute essentially a mini documentary about the not so wild, wild West. This week, we've been doing a Mythbusters episode for all of our bonus content. So if you'd like to see the bonus content today, make a donation. If we raise $50 by the end of the show, you will unlock the bonus content. And today we are debunking the myths of the Wild West, which is a good one. Very interesting for those who are interested in liberty and anarcho-capitalism. All right, Judge Andrew Napolitano is coming back in just 3 to 4 minutes. We're going to talk to the judge about Donald Trump's legal woes. So stick around. Don't go away. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America show. Go shopping while we're on commercial break on the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com.
Expansive time, a year might seem like a mere moment, but oh, what a year it's been. In September 2022, Austin and Stephanie Peterson embarked on a journey to wake up America. They began humbly, with just 20 souls tuning in, learning, listening, and though challenges arose, like the looming shadow of YouTube demonetization, their spirit never waned. And now, thanks to you, thousands rise with the sun to join them, to listen, to engage, to be a part of a community. So here's to you, and to Wake Up America, for memories shared, for friends made, for the journey ahead, and for never, ever forgetting to rise and freedom. Happy anniversary.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Is the outdoor of your home about as exciting as a library? Then spice it up and unbore your space with our custom metal signs. Crafted with love and a bit of libertarian magic, you can customize your own metal sign at ap4libertyshop.com. So head to ap4libertyshop.com, customize your own metal sign today.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars, ensuring each voice finds its unique rhythm and tone. Are you ready to elevate your voice? Visit petersonvoicestudio.com and sign up for remote lessons tailored just for you. Let's begin this melodious journey together.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. Glad to have you here. Click that like button and subscribe to the channel. Many of you, of the thousands of people who are watching, thanks to Rumble. Appreciate you, Rumble. Thanks for putting us out there on the front page. Of the thousands of people who are watching us live right now, I imagine that might have been your first time seeing our delicious Founding Flavors coffee commercial. Very excited to announce today the launch of our brand new flavor, Madisonian Mornings. Yes, for the father of the Constitution, a delicious coffee that you can get exclusively at ap4libertyshop.com. Now, I know many of you are big-time caffeine addicts like myself. Well, it's a light roast, which means more caffeine. So if you're an addict, then Madisonian Mornings should definitely be your new go-to. Get it at AP, the number 4, ap4libertyshop.com. My next guest, well, he's Italian. You think that he'd enjoy a nice hearty cup of coffee in the mornings, but I think he only drinks the occasional espresso. Joining us now live on the show for our Wednesday Big Brain Times is the host of the Judging Freedom podcast and my good friend, Judge Andrew Napolitano, who had over 2 million views of his show last week. Congratulations and good morning, Judge.
Oh, thank you and good morning, Ross. And I had 2 shots of espresso at 7 o'clock this morning.
Not that you need it, Judge. You've always been so chipper and sprightly, and we're glad and thankful for it, because the message of liberty is one that should lift us up and give us cheerfulness and reasons to be joyful. Even in dark times like these, Judge, it's always been great to hear your laugh and to see your zest and zeal for these principles and this cause that we share. So thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I love these Wednesday mornings.
Me too, Judge. They're so refreshing, like a drink of water in the desert. Tell us, Judge, about Donald Trump's legal woes, because every week there's a new problem that Donald Trump seems to face. He's having to pay tens of millions of dollars to fight all these legal challenges, despite being the presumptive nominee for the Republican Party and the possible president of the United States again next year. He's got more problems than just about anybody in this country. This Manhattan hush money case, for example, it's now poised to make history because it's the first criminal case against a former president to be heard by a jury. What are the implications of this?
All right. So Donald Trump has three very, very pressing legal problems. I'll take them in the opposite order of their immediacy. Yesterday suffered a crushing blow when a three-judge panel of the Federal Appeals Court in Washington, D.C. ruled unanimously that presidents do not enjoy immunity from prosecution for crimes alleged to have been committed while they were president. A brilliant, historically sound, almost epic opinion, the type of opinion that will appear for law students and legal scholars to study for many, many years. I'd be quite surprised if the Supreme Court interferes with it. The practical effect of that is his January 6th case is now back on track. The stay imposed by the court has been lifted. His only hope is to go to the Supreme Court, which ordinarily does not get involved in cases like this. It will say, why should we hear this appeal? Because you might very well be acquitted, and then we'd be ruling in a vacuum. So if you're convicted, come back to us, but we probably won't hear the appeal now. Just my opinion as to where it's going to go. The opinion is so sound, it's just inassailable, and it's devastating to the president. Rejected his argument that he has to be impeached before he can be tried for a crime. Rejected his argument that he can order the assassination of someone while he's in the White House and not be prosecuted for it afterwards. Rejected his argument that immunity that the president enjoys stays with the former president for the rest of his life. Okay, that's issue number one. Issue number two is a judge in Manhattan was about to release his opinion on the $370 million claim against the Trump Organization when two things happened. One, the monitor who is monitoring the Trump Organization, appointed by this judge, the monitor is a retired federal judge. She discovered a $48 million phantom debt in the Trump Organization books. Now, what's a phantom debt? Well, it shows a debt which you can offset against income to reduce your taxable income, except that it wasn't real. It was phantom. That caused the judge, it was about to issue his opinion, to have to rewrite it, obviously pushing up the $370 million number. At the same time that happened, one of Trump's key witnesses in that case, his former CFO, Alan Weisselberg, acknowledged that he committed perjury in that case to the judge's face in the judge's courtroom. And that, of course, will result in discounting his testimony and in rewriting the opinion. So expect that ruling to come out and expect that award to be greater than $370 million. The number is very important because Forbes magazine has a team that tracks Trump's wealth and expenditures. I don't know how they do this, but they claim to be able to do it. They say his liquid assets are $400 million, a staggering number. But he owes E. Jean Carroll $83 million, and he's about to owe the state of New York something north of $370 million. Staggering for him. These cannot be discharged in bankruptcy, and they cannot be paid by a political action committee or a campaign. Now, the third issue that you raise, which was the sleeper and is now about to become the star of the show, is what everybody assumed was the runt of the litter, the weakest case against him, which is the alleged bookkeeping errors, disguising political donations as ordinary ordinary business expenditures, is about to go to trial on March 25th. He faces 5 years in jail for this. It's unlikely that he would go to jail for it. Could very well go to jail for the January 6th case and for Mar-a-Lago and for Georgia. It is unlikely he'd go to jail for the one in New York, but this will force him to be present in a courtroom for the entire trial. The defendant cannot waive his presence in the courtroom under New York state law. And that, of course, will crimp his campaign style radically.
Judge, this is truly frightening in some ways because I'm sure you're familiar with the term lawfare. It would seem as if this is the definition of such because what is he truly accused of here? I mean, we're not talking about the types of crimes that libertarians like you and I would say are legitimate crimes. Certainly in the civil case, he lost because she claims he raped him. He lost they lost the criminal case, but won the civil case. Okay, fine. That's completely separate. But in these other issues, I mean, he's in trouble for saying it was, two bedrooms, 2.5 baths when it was really 2 bedrooms, 3 baths. And then in this other case where he's accused of putting the books in the wrong place of the hush money for a prosecutor, these are not crimes, at least according to the definition of how you and I feel. I mean, it seems as if the left is in this way turning him into a martyr, and from a political perspective, it seems as if it's helping his campaign rather than hindering him.
Well, he's handling it brilliantly from a political perspective. He is not handling it brilliantly from a legal perspective. He often does not have first-rate lawyers. He often suffers from second-rate lawyering. I don't want to get into the personality of the lawyers, but it seems that sometimes they are chosen for reasons other than their legal skills. But you're right. I mean, to you and me, to most people listening to us now, the only legitimate criminal laws are those which protect life and property and natural rights. Now, we don't have that in this country. We have 5,500 federal criminal statutes. The Constitution only authorizes 2. Multiply those numbers by each of the 50 states and the District of Columbia, and it's impossible for any person to understand all of the crimes that a person could be ensnared as having committed. The bookkeeping case is a little bit more serious than you have made it out to be, even from a neutral perspective, because it has to do with lying under oath. The E. Jean Carroll case, he had a superb trial lawyer in Joe Tacopina, one of the best cross-examiners I've ever seen. The charge was rape or sexual assault. They acquitted him on rape, but convicted him of sexual assault. I don't want to get into the difference because this is a family show and it's early in the morning. It's still a very serious matter. Not a crime now. She never went to the police. This stuff allegedly occurred in the 90s. She can't even give a date. But the legislature of the state of New York, in its wisdom, opened up the statute of limitations for 2 years for adult survivors of sexual assault and allowed anybody to sue anybody else, no matter how specious or poorly grounded the litigation was. In this case, the jury believed about 90% of what this woman told her. And then the second jury, which assessed the defamation case, that's the one that whacked him for $83 million, $5 million for one spoken defamation, $11 million for another spoken defamation, and $65 million in punitive damages. So it is the legal system run amok. I've never really seen anything like this, and we haven't even gotten to the cases that are the weightiest, which are the 2 federal cases, the one in Florida for the Mar-a-Lago documents, and then the one in D.C. for January 6th, the one that is now back on track after the appellate ruling yesterday.
So Trump is going to have to appear in court during this jury trial. How does he campaign? When will this happen? That's 2. And then 3, can he even get an unbiased jury in a world where he has 100% universal name ID and of a jury? How do they even select a jury that could possibly be unbiased?
Well, in New York, unfortunately, the lawyers select the jury. They cajole, charm, and question the potential jurors. The better system is the federal system, the New Jersey system. I don't know what it is in Missouri where you are, where the judge selects the jury. So the job of selecting is to weed out bias, prejudice, interest in the outcome. You're not going to find 12 people that never heard of him. If they never heard of him, somebody never heard of Donald Trump, you don't want them on the jury. They're living in another world. But you do want 12 people who will say under oath, I can truly be fair. I can evaluate this evidence as if it were John Smith, an unknown person to me. It doesn't matter to me that he is the former president and that he's running for president. If they say that sincerely and under oath, and you as the judge believe it, then you put them in the jury pool. You find about 60 people like this, and then you let the lawyers exercise their challenges. You can challenge a person for you have what's called a peremptory challenge. You can challenge them without stating a reason. Then you have a challenge for cause, where you have to give the reason, and eventually you whittle it down to 12. It's not an easy process. It can take a few days. In death penalty cases, which thanks be to God are fewer and fewer in the U.S., it can take weeks to pick 12 truly neutral people.
The numbers on the Wake Up America show live stream just keep climbing and climbing. I bet I know why. My current guest, Judge Andrew Napolitano, is here. He's the host of the Judging Freedom podcast himself, which you can download on any of your mobile devices. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Central, he joins us here on the show. Do us a favor, and if you're enjoying what you're hearing, these conversations that happen every Wednesday at this time, click like and subscribe and come back and join us here. Set an appointment on your calendar for our regular discussion. We call this big brain time because this is when the judge and I get into the nitty-gritty of the big issues, not just the news, but the philosophy behind the politics, because we are both big believers in the ideas of libertarianism, and the judge and I have been friends for quite some time. So do click like and subscribe and come back and join us here on the regs. So Trump seems to be headed towards a situation where, as you and I have noted in previous interviews, a potential constitutional crisis could arise. Many people who are tuning in here today, Judge, are probably hearing this conversation for the first time, and they haven't heard us talk about the constitutional crisis. Your belief is, and I imagine it's probably unchanged, maybe it has changed, your belief is that if Trump is sentenced to any sort of jail time, that the Supreme Court would likely issue a stay?
Well, I can't answer that yes or no. If he's sentenced to federal jail time and is elected president, he would attempt to pardon himself, or he would instruct his attorney general to move to I don't even know what the word would be, because it's after a conviction, to undo the conviction, or he would ask a court to put all this aside while he's president of the United States. If he's sentenced to jail time in a state system, the feds cannot interfere with that. I don't know what would happen. That's virgin legal territory. That would be a crisis. A crisis is when you have a constitutional crisis is when you have two values underlying the Constitution clashing with each other. So one value would be the sovereignty of the states to prosecute those within their states who violated the law, uninterfered with by the feds. The other value would be the right of the people to have the person they lawfully elected as president to serve as president of the United States. That would be a real constitutional crisis if he were convicted in New York or Georgia state courts and sentenced to incarceration in a New York or Georgia facility, and then were to be elected president. There are people who have been elected to office while in jail. And Norman Thomas, the socialist leader, who shouldn't have been in jail at all, ran for president while in jail against Woodrow Wilson and got over 1 million votes. He didn't get any electoral college votes, and he couldn't campaign. But the socialist movement was burgeoning in that era, and people wanted to express their dismay for his incarceration, so they voted for him.
Judge, your weekly column at judgenap.com comes out every Thursday. I like to call it required reading for people who don't believe that anything should be required other than protecting liberty. Your weekly column is always enlightening. This week, you were talking about the hearings that social media companies were drawn to Capitol Hill for last week, where Mark Zuckerberg was publicly berated by senators for creating a product that even Mark Zuckerberg admittedly said he was sorry for, that it had harmed children. But your piece this week says that it was wrong for them to be forced to come in front of Congress and to be publicly berated. Can you explain it for us?
Well, the First Amendment, which guarantees that Congress shall make no law interfering with the freedom of speech, also guarantees the opposite of free speech, which is silent. And even though it says Congress shall make no law, today that means no government shall do anything to infringe upon the freedom of speech. So the Congress has no business compelling people to come and speak before it at all, particularly in an area that is not federal. Listen, my heart breaks when a child commits suicide or when a child is harmed in any way, but that is not a federal issue. It is not in the Constitution. There's nothing in the Constitution about safety. It expressly was reserved for the states. You talk about Madison Coffee. Well, Madison wrote the Constitution with that value judgment in mind. Huge areas of human behavior and governance expressly excluded from the feds. One of them was safety. If anything, the Constitution guarantees liberty, not safety. So is it any business of the senators that these children killed themselves? Well, they don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about limited government. They don't care about the parents who want the feds to do what the parents failed to do, which is control their children's viewing habits and appetites, because the senators just want to get, the same reason they do anything, reelected.
Judge, isn't it
Now, I
the
was
case?
furious
Yeah,
when I
go ahead.
saw them. I'm not a fan of particularly a fan of Mark Zuckerberg, and I've had my own problems with big tech. You have as well. You challenge the government, and big tech, which is in bed with the government, will punish you for it. But big tech has a private bulletin board. They can take me down if they want. I respect that. The government can't interfere with that. The government can't tell them what to post on that bulletin board, and the government can't interfere with free speech. If the government could interfere with free speech, it would reward the speech of its patrons and punish the speech of its adversaries, the very thing the First Amendment was written to prohibit absolutely.
It seems as if that's what's happening at the moment, Judge, because if you had a pro-government view during the pandemic, for example, the social media institutions would lift up those voices at the behest of government, right? Not doing it on their own. I'm sure they probably would have done it on their own, but then they would actually remove and suppress voices like mine and yours who questioned the government narrative during the pandemic. And they did this because they were told specifically to do so. Now, there has been a lawsuit, Missouri versus Biden, which has morphed into a new case that is headed to the Supreme Court. And the question of whether or not the government will be prevented from talking to social media companies, I guess, is at stake here, Judge. So what should happen? What should the Supreme Court decide when it hears this case regarding the interaction between government and social media? What should be the best outcome for people like us who believe in liberty?
The same outcome has occurred in the Circuit Court of Appeals, which is an absolute impenetrable wall between the government and social media, because the government here, using a carrot or a stick, suppress this speech and we'll go easy on you. Don't suppress this speech, and a swarm of bureaucrats will go through your books looking for every undotted I and misplaced comma. That is the government doing indirectly through a third party what it can't do directly, and that is infringing upon speech. There's no question but that this is an enormous infringement upon free speech, using a carrot or a stick with which to do so. I'm confident that the Supreme Court will uphold the Fifth Circuit and prevent this from going on further. And it doesn't matter, Austin, who's in the White House. Most of this happened in the Trump administration. Some of it happened. I don't blame Donald Trump personally any more than I blame Joe Biden personally. Most of it happened in the Trump administration. Some of it happened in the Biden administration. Some of it is still going on now. A judge in Texas enjoined the Department of Homeland Security from communicating with big tech other than on technical matters. The Fifth Circuit upheld that injunction. The Supreme Court vacated the injunction while the Supreme Court, hears the case. But I believe that injunction will permanently be put in place permanently once the Supreme Court rules.
Judge, who do you have coming up on your excellent and wildly popular show, Judging Freedom?
So I have three people. I've had two of my heavy hitters this week already. We did Colonel Douglas McGregor from a cell phone in an airport, and he had 250,000 views in the next 24 hours. And Scott Ritter was on yesterday. He's up to about 200,000 already. Today I have Phil Giraldi, former CIA, who exposes what the government doesn't want us to hear, particularly what is intel telling Joe Biden about what's happening in Gaza and what's happening in Ukraine. I have Aaron Maté, a very interesting young man that you would enjoy getting to know, a Canadian journalist who is fiercely anti-war and makes it his business to expose what the Netanyahu government does not want exposed. And then I have the great Professor Jeffrey Sachs at Columbia University. Does Israel realize it's destroying itself? Those are at 3, 4, and 5 o'clock Eastern today.
Your show had how many millions of views last week?
2.1 million views last week, which was a record even for us. I'm overwhelmed and deeply gratified by these numbers. We are becoming the go-to place for anti-war, pro-peace, serious conversations.
He's the Ron Paul of our times, Judge Andrew Napolitano, making liberty popular. Judge, thank you for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you again next Wednesday.
You got it, Austin. All the best to you and to your viewers and listeners.
Thank you very much. What do you think of Judge Andrew Napolitano? Send us a text at 573-319-1586. That's the text line right down there. 573-319-1586. If you're enjoying these conversations, make sure that you click like and subscribe to the channel. With 1,600 people, we should be able to get 100 likes on the show, wouldn't you say? Come on. My next guest who'll be joining me here in just a few minutes, Alex Finn, was getting raked over the coals of the Daily Wire. He's a tech entrepreneur. He'll be joining us here in just a few minutes. He's a big fan of the Apple headsets. He was getting ripped by the Daily Wire. Take a listen.
Hey guys, real quick, I want to address something here. Who's this Brett Cooper character from Daily Wire? Isn't that Ben Shapiro, the rapper's channel? She started talking shit about me in front of 200,000 people and 4 million subscribers. This is crazy. So she goes on and starts shitting on me. She starts shitting on the Apple Vision Pro, the most revolutionary piece of technology ever created. She said some really mean things. Let's listen to it. Don't know who this Matt Walsh guy is. Jesus isn't coming back, is he, with my video? This guy, my name's right there. It's a great video. It's important we know what the TikTok experience is like. Consume as much TikTok content as I want at any given time.
That's literally my nightmare. That is absolutely horrifying.
This is your nightmare? I'm living your nightmare?
Multiple TikTok accounts is not good for your mental health. I would know. I have.
This isn't good for my mental health, Brett Cooper. My mental health has never been better. Your mental health sucks. I have great mental health. You're nuts. Brett Cooper, here's your issue. You've never experienced the Apple Vision Pro. You've never put it on your head. You don't know what it's like to play Fortnite and have 2 TikToks going at the exact same time over here. So, Brett Cooper, until you can be doing this, playing Fortnite and having 5 TikToks go at the same time, I don't want to hear it about Apple Vision Pro. I don't want to hear you talking shit. You can save it. You know, if you're going to talk shit, say it to my face. Say it to my face with the Apple Vision Pro on instead of going on Daily Wire and talking shit. Screw off.
Alex Finn He's got a bit of a potty mouth, though. He's going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. He's going to talk to us about the Apple Pro and getting pooped all over by the Daily Wire. Just because he wants to watch his TikToks on the Apple Vision Pro headset. Have you seen people walking around with the Apple Vision Pro on their heads and everybody's like, oh my God, it's the end of society. It's the end. It's the fall of civilization. People are walking around with the Apple Vision Pro on their heads. Wait, hold on. Here's a video. Like, let's just scroll through Twitter here real quick. You can see. Here, look, oh, there's somebody like not driving the Cybertruck, right? So it's completely hands-free. They're driving the Cybertruck. They've got the Apple Vision Pro. Honestly, I'm jealous, okay? I wish I had that kind of money. Right? You see people walking around. She's got the Apple Vision Pro headset on. Oh gosh, that's nearly, thank God she wasn't actually naked, but that's what you get for scrolling in real time there. People wear, look, The Simpsons predicted it apparently. The Simpsons did it with Apple Vision Pro. Here we go. Where's the audio on this one? I guess it's not going to play. All right. The Simpsons apparently predicted Apple Vision Pro. Okay, let's go get Alex Finn. We're going to talk to him about whether or not Apple Vision Pro is the end of civilization as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Click like and subscribe. Visit apforlibertyshop.com. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here. And we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, you know, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? All right, the Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country and, you know, the thing. But hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.
Good morning, rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Of all of the thousands of people who are watching us live right now, I have to say thank you. First to rumble.com. When Rumble puts us on the front page like that, obviously the numbers blow up. So I imagine that for most of you who are watching right now, you're like, who is this guy? You have no idea who I am. Well, I'm Austin Peterson, and you're watching the Wake Up America show. We stream the show live every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. If you're interested in economic freedom, personal liberty, if you like technology, if you like jokes, you're in the right place. So when you subscribe, make sure that you set a calendar appointment and come back and join us in the mornings. It's a really friendly crew. If you drop a comment over in the live chat, who knows what friends you can make. Some people have made real, sincere, actual real-life friends from people they've met in the comments section. We like to make a nice, healthy community. You know who you are. All right, so the text lines are open, 573-319-1586. And Mighty Megatron drops a couple bucks in the tip jar. Thank you, sir. He wants me to ask Alex, my next guest, who's coming on in just a moment, this question. He says, ask Alex if he'll have the balls to wear that nice, expensive gear in cities like New York City or Portland or Chicago. Can't wait to see the diversity in cities robbing these in vids. Okay, that's racist. Stop it. My next guest, Alex Finn, is a tech entrepreneur, and he's been making videos about that new Apple Vision headset. So before we all get Elon Musk's brain chip, we're going to wear the computers on our face before that we insert them into our craniums. Alex Finn joining us live right now. Good morning, Alex. How are you, sir?
Good to be here, Austin. Good to be on the show. Excited to be here.
Glad to have you here, Alex. So real quick, would you get the Neuralink brain chip if you had a chance, if Elon Musk said, you could have it?
As long as the first few test subjects don't croak after getting it implemented, then I'm in. Put it in my brain.
Me too. I'm with you, bud. I'm with you. I love new technology, but I'm a libertarian. I run in conservative circles. And one of the big differences between conservatives and libertarians is that libertarians tend to love tech. Conservatives are like, tech is the devil. And it's demonic. Everything is demonic. And apparently, the Daily Wire, which is a conservative outfit, is going along with that line. They were making fun of you in a video. What's their beef?
I don't know what their beef is. So some character named Brett Cooper decided to start attacking me because of my Apple Vision Pro video. So I am a big tech guy. I love technology. I write software. I create tech products. I've had the Apple Vision Pro since the morning it launched. I absolutely love it. I've been putting up some videos on my X account. That's where I'm popular, is on X, at AlexFinX. And I've had several videos over the last few days go wildly viral, and it apparently got picked up by Daily Wire. And I don't know what's going on over there at the Daily Wire, but they were hating on me for using the Apple Vision Pro and using it to watch 10 TikToks at the same time. I don't get it.
10 TikToks at the same time. No, God, no.
God!
Mommy over the chat says, Mark of the Beast, AP, Mark of the Beast. But tell us a little bit about this headset. What are the benefits of using this technology? Looks kind of cumbersome, but tell us your experience with it.
So I got it right there behind me, so I can just throw it on at any time. You can see it behind me there. But there's several benefits. So it's the introduction of spatial computing. And basically what that means is when I put it on, my entire space becomes my computer. I can pop open a window here. I can pop open a window there. I'm a big Boston Celtics fan, so I pop open the Boston Celtics game on a 500-inch screen on my wall, and then I'll open up my work in front of me. I'll open up, a programming terminal right in front of my face, and then my notes on the left, my other on the right. And so instead of having a 2D space, which is your monitor, which is where everyone's used to doing their work now, with the Vision Pro on, I now have my entire house is my computer, and I can, set up in my bathroom a screen on the door so that when I go to the bathroom, I can watch TV, and then I come back and my coding is right in front of my couch. And so it really changes the entire paradigm of computing with the headset. Unfortunately, what you see mostly on the internet is people using it for stupid reasons, right? Going to the gym and wearing it's pointless. The 99% of people are using it just for attention and clout. But if you use it for the way it's supposed to be used, where turning your space into a computer, you really can up your productivity and change the way you do work.
So every new technology like this does have some limitations. One could be battery life, for example. I did notice that there is this giant tube that comes out the side, and you've basically got to house the battery on your person. Do you find that to be cumbersome?
Not at all. There are downsides to it, which I'll go into, but the battery is not one of them. You're really not supposed to be using this device doing anything but sitting down on your couch, right? So you put the battery to your side, you plug it into the wall like you would a laptop charger, and there's no issue whatsoever. It's supposed to be a computer. You have the Meta Quest, Zuckerberg's device. That's supposed to be like a video game console where you jump around and do jumping jacks and do crazy stuff. that wouldn't work for this. This is supposed to be a computer where you sit down and your entire space becomes productive. There's a lot of other issues with it. The battery is one. There's many issues, like my eyes get very, very tired after half an hour. I'd imagine after a couple of years of continued use of this, I'm going to be blind. I'm fine with that. There's a lot of other issues where sometimes it can get a little slow if you open up a lot of things at once, but the battery is not really an issue here.
Okay, so battery not an issue, but you were talking about your vision. So, I mean, do you feel disoriented wearing this headset? I mean, do you have to take it off after a while and take breaks? What's that like?
There's no disorientation. I don't get headaches. I don't get dizzy. I don't experience any of that. Really, the only downside I feel is after about 45 minutes of use, have you ever just stared at a monitor for hours now? Like days you do a ton of work and you're just staring at a monitor and your eyes you just want to lay on the couch and close your eyes. Do you ever do that before?
Yeah,
Austin?
sure. Yeah.
It's like that, but after half an hour with this device. So after about half an hour for me, and I know people who've used this 12 hours straight, zero impact to their eyes. For me, 45 minutes after using this, I just want to take it off and close my eyes for a little bit because it just feels like my eyes ran a marathon. So everyone who uses it's going to have different experience. For me, the one major downside is I got to take a break every 45 minutes or so.
Okay, well, that makes sense. For those who are just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm speaking to Alex Finn. He's a tech entrepreneur. You can follow him at Alex Finn on X. And you can check out his videos where he is reviewing the new Apple headset that so many people are decrying as the end of Western civilization. My friend earlier, I think, had a good point. I mean, would you wear this walking around in a big city out in public, like Chicago, for example, Alex?
So I live in New York City. I see what's going on in the city. I see the crime. I see how much the city has collapsed over the last 4 years or so since COVID started. I would absolutely not wear this outside. And I live in a safe part of the city where there's no crime. You don't see police officers anywhere. There's zero crime here. And I wouldn't even wear it here. First of all, I wouldn't wear it because of the crime potential. It's very easy for someone to take it off, snatch it off your head, and $3,500 is gone. But two, there's no point. Anyone wearing this outside is just chasing clout. There is 0 point in wearing this outside. There's no benefit to wearing this in your day-to-day life outside. There's no benefit to wearing this walking around. There's no benefit to doing anything other than sitting your ass in a chair and doing work. Doing anything else other than that is completely pointless. So no, I wouldn't wear it outside for the reasons your commenters said, crime, but also there's no point. And I also want to touch real quick, if you don't mind, on the downfall of society thing. I do think it will be the downfall of society. I actually agree with that. If you use this the wrong ways, your life is over. If you use this the wrong ways for pornography, for nonstop games, for watching 20 TikToks at the exact same time, I agree this could consume your life and destroy you and turn you into a fat ass and you never accomplish anything ever again for the rest of your life. If you use it for the right ways and you're responsible and you have personal accountability and you go, I'm only using this for X amount of time to do X amount of activities and I'm going to stay focused, then I think it supercharges your life and makes your life actually much better. For me, I have rules. I do 1 to 2 hours of work a day on it, and then I watch the Celtics game at night. Anything outside of that, I'm not doing it because it's going to impact my life and make it worse. So if you have self-accountability and responsibility, which I'm sure a lot of your libertarian crowd is support of, personal responsibility and accountability, then I think it's only a positive on your life, unless it makes me go blind. But if you have no control and you can't control yourself and you just sit there watching porn 24 hours a day, I can absolutely see how it could destroy your life.
Okay, because that was going to be my next question, was the adult content for it. I guess there is adult content that exists for these headsets.
Oh yeah, they've been coming out with 3D adult content for a very long time, since the original Oculus released. It's as easy to obtain as any other adult content.
Have you seen any of it?
I have not, because I know my personality. Listen, I know what I'm capable of, right? I don't eat dessert because for a year in 2023, I ate chocolate every 5 minutes and I put on tons of shitty weight and I was miserable because sugar is awful for your brain. I know what I'm capable of. And so I have the self-control enough to avoid those things. I have the self-control enough to know that if I was to be sucked into that world, I'd be spending every waking moment of my day and I wouldn't be able to get my, grow my business, release products, create products. That shit would go down the drain if I hope you don't mind if I curse, if I got sucked into those things.
Now, Alex, you're a tech entrepreneur, right? So obviously, being on the cutting edge of technology is what you do for a job. But is this the kind of thing that would give a regular person an advantage over anybody else? Is this the kind of thing that an average person needs to go out and buy right now? Or is this really just the realm of people like you and me who use technology for our daily work? Like, would this do any good for a construction worker? Would this do any good for somebody who cleans houses for a living? Or should they wait until this technology gets cheaper and evolves and is more ubiquitous with its uses?
For the average person, there's absolutely no point in buying it right now. But here's what it comes down to is this technology will absolutely revolutionize the world. My prediction is 10 to 15 years from now. 10 to 15 years from now, the world will be 100 times more productive. People will be allowed to work 100 times less and get 100 times more profit because of the efficiencies that this and AI technology and wireless technology and cloud technology will provide. At the moment, we are not seeing the benefits of that because the technology is just not there yet. In order for Apple and other tech companies to get to the point where spatial computing and AI computing can actually have an impact on construction workers, have an impact on normal knowledge workers, we need to get the technology to grow 10x from here. I need to be able to go outside with it, live my normal life, do normal things, and people not notice I have it on. But in order to get there, we have to start here. We have to start with this absolutely massive, gargantuan thing we place in our head that makes us look like douchebags. We are going to get to a point where that thing revolutionizes work, revolutionizes life, where one construction worker with that on can get as much done as 10 construction workers without it. But we have to grow from there. It's like mobile devices. Where did a mobile phone start? It started in your Buick where you had it plugged into the console, and to dial it, you pick it up and it's this thing as big as your head. Did that actually have any impact on the world other than you calling your wife and telling you, hey, I'll be a little late to dinner? No, it didn't. But what did that grow into? I don't have my mobile phone. It grew into the iPhone. And I don't think there's anyone out there that's going to tell you the iPhone didn't absolutely change the world, right? And did the iPhone destroy a lot of people's lives? Because all I do is sit here hunched over like this all day? Absolutely. Destroyed a ton of people's lives. But it also improved a significant amount of people's lives, made the world way more efficient, allowed you to work from home. We're not working from home if the iPhone doesn't exist, right? COVID destroys the economy way more if the iPhone doesn't exist than if the iPhone did exist. If no one could work from home, the entire global economy collapses. But because we can work from home, there was still productivity. So I know I just rambled a little bit there, but right now we're in the Buick plugged into your car that doesn't really do anything, but they had to build that phone in order to get to the iPhone. And they had to build this so that in 15 years, spatial computing can revolutionize everything you do. And I know most people out there can't really see that because most people don't really understand technology on a really deep level. But all the people kind of crapping on ChatGPT and the Apple Vision Pro, I promise you 15 years from now, their life is going to be significantly better because of it, whether it's directly because they're using it to be productive or indirectly because the products they're being made is being made way more efficiently because of it. So the price goes down because of it.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, I wouldn't be able to produce my coffee brand with all of the design because the thousands of dollars I would have had to invest if I wasn't able to use artificial intelligence to create all of my product designs for the shop. And a lot of my people who watch my show are customers of, and they benefit from that because I wouldn't be able to afford to do it if it wasn't for AI. Alex, I really like your attitude about things. I consider myself a techno optimist. I really do see a brighter future because of all of these kinds of technologies that are coming out. I don't buy into the pessimistic view of future that, cybernetic robotic terminators are going to kill all of humanity and it's the end of civilization because we're wearing these things on our headsets. Maybe there will be some negative consequences, right? I'm not a dope, but I happen to see the silver linings in a lot of clouds that are on our horizon. I'm really curious though, before we let you go, about your business, your dope company, as you describe it here, 1% Better X. Sounds like a good attitude. Sounds like you're pretty optimistic. What does your company do, Alex?
My company is all about using technology to improve your life. So 1% Better is a newsletter, 30,000 subscribers, where I write about tech. I write about improving your life with tech. I write about improving your life with content. We have a community that people are a part of where we talk about tech. We meet up every Friday on Zoom. We have conversations together. We're about to release a piece of software over the next couple months, which will help people improve their content, help people improve their writing through AI. So it's a community, it's content, it's media, it's education, and it's software built around technology, improving people's lives.
That sounds like something I'd love to be a part of, Alex. Where do I sign up for something like that, or our listeners, if they're curious?
Step one, go to my X at AlexFinX, AlexFinNX, follow. And then that has links to my newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter that goes out every Thursday that has information on all this and how to buy it. I don't really advertise too much. I'm not a big fan of marketing and advertising. I kind of have an Elon Musk attitude where if the product's good enough, people will find a way to get it and buy it. So if you sign up for all that, you'll figure out a way to get the products and figure out ways to improve your life. But the X is kind of I love X. I'm a big fan of freedom of speech, and I love how X contributes to that. So everyone should go to my X and follow there, AlexFinX. Can I also just say one thing? So I'm seeing a lot of comments about people hating on the Apple Vision Pro. Can I address the comments of people hating on it real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you told me your crowd's libertarian, right? Libertarians are obviously very pro Second Amendment, having guns. And then you have people out there who shoot up malls, and libertarians, which I lean libertarian, go, well, yeah, guns in the wrong hands hurt people, but guns in the right hands save people. I asked the audience who's shitting on the Apple Vision Pro right now in your comment section to take that mindset you have around guns and put that towards technology. The Apple Vision Pro in the wrong hands will absolutely destroy lives. They'll sit there, they'll do nothing but sit on their couch, they'll do nothing but watch porn, they'll do nothing but play video games. Their lives will be destroyed, their families will break apart, and it'll be a complete waste of time for them. But the Apple Vision Pro in the right hands will make your life 100 times better. It'll make products 100 times cheaper to make, which means they'll be 99 times cheaper to buy. It'll make life easier because technology will be created that will improve your life. It'll improve your life directly and indirectly in a lot of different ways. So I know a lot of people in the audience are not happy with it. They think it's the end of times. Think of it like guns. If everyone was the wrong type of person with guns, it would be the end of times because people would just be killing each other, the left and right. But luckily, a majority of the people in this world are good people. Your guys' attitude when it comes to gun is a majority of the people with guns are good people, right? So you need to take that attitude, right? Be a little less ignorant when it comes to technology and be like, a majority of the people in the world are good people. Those people with technology will improve your lives. And yes, there will be an X percent of people that it fucking blows up their life. Apologies again if this is a non-cursing show. But you need to have that faith that technology in the right hands will improve your life just the way guns will. So that's the last thing I wanted to say there.
It's a great argument, Alex, and I'm glad you made it here on our show because we are very pro-tech for the most part. Not everybody agrees, but that's the best part of freedom. You can follow Alex at AlexFinX over at twitter.com, and I think he's a great follow, and I'm glad I got to meet you, Alex. Don't let the conservatives who are very pessimistic about technology to get you down. Appreciate your time today. Thanks for being so generous, and hopefully we'll have you back again real soon.
Happy to come on anytime, man. This was a great conversation. I really appreciate it. I'll be watching your show every day now, so thanks for having me.
Thanks, Alex. Have a great day. We appreciate that. He's going to watch the Wake Up America show, so make sure you follow Alex over on Twitter. And, well, I have to say that there was one thing that I disagreed with Alex about, and that is that I do believe in marketing. I do believe in sales. Because frankly, if you're not a tech entrepreneur and you're like me and you're in the humble merchandising business, then you're going to have to compete on the merits. Now, do I think that I have the absolute best Javier Milei hoodies out there? Absolutely. And supporting the Wake Up America show, you can do so by shopping over at ap4libertyshop.com. We've got, well, a little bit less than 10 minutes. And I have to say, it looks like we may have our very first time of not getting our content unlocked.
How dare you?
Yes, we do have for you a very special, almost 3-minute mini documentary that is our Mythbusters episode today about the Wild Wild West, debunking the myth of the Wild Wild West. Here at the Wake Up America show, every day we create special bonus content for you to unlock. And if we raise $50 in Rumble Rants by the end of the show, then you get to unlock that content. You've got 7 minutes now to unlock that content. So if you would like to see the Wake Up America show's bonus content today before it goes away forever, then we do need to, it looks like we need to get about $28 more in donations. So if you make a $28 Rumble Rant donation right now, then I will play the video. If not, then we've only got just about 6 or 7 more minutes to go in the show before it's time for us to say goodbye.
Oh, God! No, God, please, no!
All we've got to do is raise $28 by the end of the show, and then you get to see it. Otherwise, again, it goes away forever. Don't boo me. Horatius148 says, well-spoken, articulate guy with a good review. Great guest. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Always working hard to bring you the absolute best in guests and the best content. Clips like these.
Some of these companies run
guest on the Joe Rogan Experience, who is talking about how the American economy works, that it's not a market economy, that it essentially runs on a cartel model. Now, he's speaking very quickly, so I want to play this again one more time before the show's over so that you can get a concept for how our American economy really works, which is completely 100% dead on accurate. Listen to this.
Regulation, but then the goal of the regulation is to get a regulatory.
Right. So these big major companies, what they do, they push for laws that are regulations, but then the point of the regulation is to get a barrier against competition. So smaller companies that are competing against them aren't able to move up. Walmart doesn't want AP for Liberty shop to be able to afford to sell Afuera hoodies. They want to be able to have a monopoly on the sale of hoodies. They don't want you buying a hoodie from me. They want you to buy it from them. And they've created taxes and regulatory burdens to prevent people like me from competing against them. Let's continue.
Barrier, where if you're a big established company, you have lots of lawyers who can deal with that. And the goal is to make sure that startups.
I mean, think about this. During the pandemic, for example, they shut down mom and pop businesses while they allowed Walmarts and Amazons and major corporations to continue to operate. So you couldn't catch the China flu at Walmart, but you could catch it at the local mom and pop retail shop because reasons, right?
Where the government both regulates them and protects them against competition. And then there's the revolving door effect where government officials, when they step down from government, they go to work for these companies.
And that's another big one, right? So the companies are in this incestuous relationship, right? When the companies say they want regulations, what's happening? The regulations are written to protect those companies as much as they are to stop whatever bad behavior Elizabeth Warren or Josh Hawley or whoever it is thinks that they're doing. So the question is are the regulations in place to protect the little guy? Well, they're not.
It's competition.
They're basically cartels. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Wake Up America show. We appreciate all of our listeners for joining us today on the show. I wish we could hang out all day, but the good news is that we are on 5 days a week, every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. The Wake Up America show streams live. So for the 1,500 who are watching us now, now's your chance before you forget who we are. You're getting your kids ready for school or what have you. I know you're busy. It takes a lot for you to pick up the remote control and scroll on your TV over to subscribe to my channel, but I'm asking you for that favor right now. Hit it right now. Click that subscribe button so that you can come back and join us tomorrow, and you'll be able to find us. I mean, we are at rumble.com/AP for Liberty, right? You heard me talking about the AP for Liberty shop earlier, right? Well, I'm basically AP for Liberty everywhere. People call me AP. I'm Austin Peterson. So if you go to rumble.com/AP for Liberty, you'll find us. But I know what's going to happen, right? I'm like the least of your worries. So tomorrow morning, you'll be like, oh, I'd love to listen to that guy and hear more interviews like those awesome ones that I heard today. But I forgot his name and I forgot the channel. Well, click subscribe so you'll be able to find us again tomorrow. All right. And before you leave, exit through what we call the Griff Shop, ap4libertyshop.com. We've got a brand new coffee that debuted today, Madisonian Morning. The Grift Shop. Madisonian Morning is a delicious brand new flavor over on our Founding Flavors blends. Light roast, delicious. The brand new light roast from Founding Flavors Coffee. Try a box today to build a healthy constitution. And you can get that again at AP4, AP4libertyshop.com. Lots of Javier Milei merchandise. Don't tread on me merch. I love the little kids hoodie that says, "Don't tread on me," with the little Lego block on there. And of course, we also have patriotic custom metal signs that you can make customized for yourself and say whatever you like. All right. Okay. Thank you all very much for your support. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow morning on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
West really all that wild? Actually, it was a great example of libertarian ideas writ large. The Wild West is often seen as lawless, but research shows it was a place where property rights were respected and order prevailed, challenging the chaotic image portrayed. The increase in government size has sparked scholarly interest in understanding its growth and exploring ways to limit it, leading to a surge in public choice literature focusing on anarchy and social organization. Key works by Rawls, Nozick, Tulloch, and Friedman contribute to this literature, aiming to compare anarchic societies to those governed by a Leviathan or to outline how societies could function in anarchy. But a paper titled The Not-So-Wild Wild West bridged the gap between theoretical anarchy and its practical application by examining anarcho-capitalism and its implications for social organization. The paper tests hypotheses on social organization in an anarcho-capitalist context by looking at the early American West, focusing on property rights and voluntary protection agencies. The study finds that private agencies played a crucial role in maintaining order without government, disproving the notion of the Wild West as chaotic. The West during this time is often perceived as a place of great chaos, with little respect for property or life. But this was not the case. Property rights were protected, and civil order prevailed. Private agencies provided the necessary basis for an orderly society in which property was protected and conflicts were resolved. These agencies often did not qualify as governments because they did not have a legal monopoly on keeping order. These agencies avoided costly disputes through arbitration and courts, providing a model of order without a governmental monopoly on violence. Anarchy often conjures images of chaos, but the paper argues that order can emerge in the absence of government through voluntary transactions and private rights. The debate between constitutionalists and anarcho-capitalists revolves around the role of government in protecting rights and whether private markets can effectively provide protection services. Constitutionalists emphasize the need for a social contract to define rights, while anarcho-capitalists argue for the efficiency of the market in providing protection without a coercive monopoly. The paper examines historical examples to test the viability of anarcho-capitalism, using the American West as a case study to explore how private enforcement of rights functioned in practice. Despite challenges, the West serves as a testament to the potential for anarcho-capitalism to maintain order, underscoring the importance of examining historical precedents for modern debates on governance and rights protection.
Expanse of time, a year might seem like a mere moment, but oh, what a year it's been. In September 2022, Austin and Stephanie Peterson embarked on a journey to wake up America. They began humbly, with just 20 souls tuning in, learning, listening, and though challenges arose, like the looming shadow of YouTube demonetization, their spirit never waned. And now, thanks to you, thousands rise with the sun to join them, to listen, to engage, to be a part of a community. So here's to you, and to Wake Up America, for memories shared, for friends made, for the journey ahead, and for never, ever forgetting to rise and freedom. Happy anniversary.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Is the outdoor of your home about as exciting as a library? Then spice it up and unbore your space with our custom metal signs. Crafted with love and a bit of libertarian magic, you can customize your own metal sign at ap4libertyshop.com. So head to ap4libertyshop.com, customize your own metal sign today.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars, ensuring each voice finds its unique rhythm and tone. Are you ready to elevate your voice? Visit PetersonVoiceStudio.com and sign up for remote lessons tailored just for you. Let's begin this melodious journey together.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP4 Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at ap4libertyshop.com.